Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. 6 p.m. by studio clock, it's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening: further expert opinions, practical references, and also constitutional provisions affirm that Professor Maurice Kamto's presidential bid is legitimate and in line with the law. Marafa Amidou Yaya, Cameroon's former Minister of Territorial Administration, has underscored the nullity of imposed mandates in his publication, citing the experiences of the SDF and other opposition parties in Cameroon. This perspective is reinforced by the early analysis of Professors Maurice Kamto and also Professor James Mwangi Kobila. We will be telling you more about Professor Maurice Kamto's candidacy in this edition of the news. Plus, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is at the White House in the US of A. He has been answering questions on the persecution of white farmers in South Africa in a discussion going on since yesterday with American President Donald Trump. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin with these human interest stories. Inhabitants of Chambers, a neighborhood in the Tiko subdivision, have staged a protest demonstration peacefully, complaining that they have been without light or electricity for the past 5 weeks. The people equally stormed the office of the divisional officer for Tiko, calling on accurate measures as insecurity has been on the rise in that area. Lucy Liengu is here, takes us to Chombe in the Tiko subdivision.
Residents of Chombes in the Tiko subdivision southwest region expressed their anger by taking to the streets to protest the prolonged absence of electricity in their neighborhood. Gathered in front of the office of the divisional officer for Tiko, they voiced their frustrations.
Yesterday we rallied here, went to the DO's office. He received us and we channeled a complaint to the DO because for 1.5 months now we've not been having lights.
Despite being in dark for the past 5 weeks, they continue to receive high electricity bills.
They came and gave us bills, so we don't know how they read the bills. And the bills are too high. For 1 month, it doesn't consume electricity, but you have to pay bills, so we don't know why. So all those complaints we gave them yesterday to the DO.
Parents are particularly concerned, stating that the situation is negatively impacting students who are preparing for public exams.
Children are preparing for their GCE. For 1.5 months, they cannot read. Some leave here, go to Likomba. In school, they wear their light. But there are certain times they go and these boys, bad boys outside, chase them. So they come back without reading.
Nvo Armstrong, the divisional officer for Tiko subdivision, assured the residents of Chombes that electricity will be restored.
Immediately he called the Neyo people and they pleaded with him that by the 31st of this month we'll have light. So he told us if we don't have light by that 31st, he will take another measure.
However, the community expects a long-lasting solution as rising insecurity has become a major concern.
Hopefully the people of Chombes have electricity that would be before or on May 31. And now we talk insecurity. We take you to the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, where banditry has become a daily concern with numerous reports of attacks on individuals and homes, even on broad daylight in the nation's capital. A recent crackdown by security elements in the Mokolo subdivision has led to the arrest of 3 persons. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
3 young individuals currently in the dragnet of security elements of the Mokolo police station. The suspected bandits, aged between 20 to 21 years old, are members of a gang who have been causing terror in the Maritenaga division far north region of Cameroon. They cannot go by without an individual complaining that they have been attacked by bandits. They go about breaking into homes and making away with valuable items. We have arrested 3 suspects. 2 others are on the run. Specialized in the theft of motorcycles and breaking into houses, these individuals are suspected of conniving with some residents, among them quarterheads. There are some quarterheads who have been conniving with the bandits, selling out private information to facilitate their activities. We are doing everything possible to track them so they can pay for their crime. The authorities call on parents to be responsible by denouncing children who carry out such criminal activities. I would like to plead with parents to stop protecting their children who carry out illegal activities. They do so because they benefit from the children. Instead, they should denounce such children. Though the inhabitants salute the efforts made by the forces of law and order, they still express worries about their safety and security.
Immaculate Fogwith reporting on insecurity in the Mokolo subdivision in the far north region of Cameroon. And now in politics, we told you in the headlines that further expert opinions, practical references, and also constitutional provisions have affirmed that Maurice Kamto's presidential bid is legitimate and in line with the laws of Cameroon. Marafa Amidou Yaya, who is Cameroon's former Minister of Territorial Administration, has underscored the unity of imposed mandate in his recent publication, citing the experiences of the Social Democratic Front and other opposition parties in Cameroon. This perspective is reinforced by the earlier analysis of Professors Maurice Kamto and James Mwangi Kobila. For me, Armstrong Sanda completes the story.
The debate surrounding Maurice Kamto's presidential candidacy bid has sparked intense discussions across Cameroon, with some questioning the legitimacy of his run due to the origin of his party's elected officials. In page 123 of his book titled Le Choix de l'Action, Marafa Amidou Yaya, Cameroon's former Minister of Territorial Administration, underscores the fact that elected officials serve the public interest, not just their parties.
Municipal magistrates and deputies become public officials bound only by the laws of the Republic. The imperative mandate is null and void, allowing elected officials to remain faithful to their conscience and personal convictions. Marafa Amidou Yaya, Le Choix de l'Action.
Furthermore, Professor Maurice Kamto and James Mwangi Kobila, experts in public law and human rights, respectively, have argued that the fact that a candidate was elected in the list of one party rather than another is not entirely irrelevant. On the contrary, it is the ultimate expression of the sovereign's trust in a particular political formation to conduct given policies. Lex Letter number 32 of November 1996. This perspective highlights the importance of respecting the will of the people and the Constitution. The principle of the constitutional supremacy is also emphasized by Kamto and Kobila, who notes that one must conduct oneself in a manner prescribed by the Constitution.
It remains that the ordinary legislator of jurisdictions and administration draw the necessary consequence, which is to render contrary legal provisions null and void. For the fundamental rule formulated by Kelsen cannot be denied. One must conduct oneself in a manner prescribed by the Constitution. In the light of these expert opinions and constitutional provisions, proponents say that it is clear that Maurice Kamto's presidential bid is legitimate and grounded on the law.
And now, still in politics, CPDM militants and councillor of the Monatele Council in the central region of the country, Tyler Onana, continues his fight for a united and better Cameroon. He insists that the candidacy of President Paul Biya or any CPDM militant ahead of this year's election in Cameroon is inadmissible. As innocent as it tells us in the report, which comes up next.
Young fella Onana, diehard CPDM militant, starts by projecting the statutory impossibility of an investiture by the CPDM. He points at Article 27, Paragraph 3 of the CPDM statutes that states the national president of the CPDM is automatically their candidate for the presidential election. But this provision pre-proposes a fundamental condition that the national president be statutorily in office However, this legitimacy derives exclusively from the Congress, the supreme body of the CPDM party, as found in Article 18, Paragraph 2, which must meet every 5 years. According to Leontela Onana, the last Congress dates back to September 2011. It questions how one can claim the investiture of a national president whose term expired 9 years ago. To him, the CPDM will legally be unable to present any candidate. Leontela Onana also outlines a candidacy marked by functional incompatibility. He cites Article 7, Paragraph 4 of the Constitution, which is unequivocal. It states, the functions of Presidents of the Republic are incompatible with any other elected public office or professional activity. The both CPDM militants rise. President Paul Biya holds 2 elected offices, that of the head of state and that of the national president of the CPDM, a combination contrary to the fundamental law, and in particular the aforementioned article. Leontela Onana also highlights potential ineligibility under Article 118 of the Electoral Code. It states persons who, of their own volition, have placed themselves in a situation of dependence on a foreign person, organization, power, or state are ineligible to go in for election. He calls on all to recall the episodes.
Now away from politics, let's talk education. Launched on August 2024, teachers, parents, and students find difficulties using the unique registration number platform for every secondary school student. In a bid to ameliorate digitalization in schools, the Littoral Regional Education Committee held a session in Douala to sensitize teachers and also proprietors on how to use this said platform. Cedric Chakutu was there.
To ensure students' monitoring and safety, better manage enrollment and exam fees, it was decided to create a unique registration number for each secondary school student. Despite its creation, the implementation of this initiative faces some challenges in certain regions of the country, particularly in private schools of the littoral region.
Given the fact that most of our schools are also in the rural areas where electricity, network coverage, and even information is limited, it becomes very difficult for it to go as fast as possible. But our greatest fear is that if this instrument is not well got by all the stakeholders, when the government will pass through reparation, because they will be proposing that it will not be possible to register children for our examinations because they were not immatriculated, it becomes a problem.
To address these problems, the Littoral Regional Education Committee held a session in Douala to take stock of the situation.
Make a roundup of what we have done along the year and to check what we have done concerning digitalization and the unique identifier for our students, because we noticed that many of our schools did not follow what have been instructed by the hierarchy. And today, after the seminar, I think everything will be okay for them, so that for the next year, all our students in the littoral region will have their identifier, and our schools will follow the digitalization.
As the end of the school academic year approaches, private schools principals were trained during this session on the challenges of digitalizing education, the use of the unique student identifier, as well as on improving statistics and periodic documents, despite the challenges related to effective internet access in the country.
And now we continue with echoes of May 20 celebrations. The lack of security forces, or the limited number of security forces in Cameroon in danger zones, especially of the country, has once again been portrayed somehow. That was during the National Day celebrations in Dagala. Dagala is a locality in the Diamare division of the Far North region of Cameroon. During the military march past in that area, just 5 gendarmes participated. Inhabitants of Dagala are now begging on the Ministry of Defense to increase the number of security forces in that area, badly hit by Boko Haram militants. Let's now have the details with Smanjika and Gabriel.
The
The natives of Dagala subdivision in Diamare division of the Far North region came out in their numbers to celebrate the 53rd edition of the National Day. Shockingly, during the first phase of the march past that was reserved for the forces of law and order, just 5 gendarme officers were present. Dagala, which is characterized with high rate of insecurity and regular theft of cattle herds, is in need of more security forces. We have just 5 gendarme officers in the subdivision, and if we can have even 10 of them, it will be very important for Dagala, because there is a lot of risk and crimes committed here in the subdivision. Another high point during the civilian march past was the presence of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM party of Professor Maurice Kamto. It was the first time the CRM party was participating in an official event in Dagala. At the end of the event that was massively attended, the divisional officer says the vigilante committee should be boosted to help the limited security forces. We thank all of the actors in the subdivision who have sacrificed this far, everything to fight against stealing, aggression, and we think the vigilante committee needs to be boosted, because the forces of law and order alone can't do everything, but together we should unite and secure the subdivision. The inhabitants of Dagala are now hoping that the government will reinforce the security forces to enable them to once again live without fear.
And over to Santa and Tuba subdivisions, all in the Mesam division of the Northwest. The celebration had a different tone somehow. In Santa, pupils and students didn't march at all, as only security forces participated and political parties participated as well, while in Tuba, the participants used face masks to march. A roundup of May 20 in Santa, Tuba, and Wabane in the Lebialem division, again with you, Samantha Gabriel.
The subdivision, Mesam division of the Northwest region, the 53rd edition of the National Day was an affair of the military, political parties like CPDM, SDF, alongside some members of the Cameroon National Youth Council and vigilante groups in the village. The turnout was, however, better than previous years. It was an occasion for the mayor, Samke Elvis Ganyam II, to call on those who didn't come out during the event to copy the examples of others who were present during the celebration. Still in Mesam division, in Tuba subdivision, the turnout of the population for the event was encouraging. But curiously, most of those who took part in the march past had face masks on as they struggled to hide their faces from the unknown. Some bad persons wanted to disturb the smooth running of the event, but thank God it went hitch-free. We are assuring them that the crisis will soon be resolved. Highlights of the day included the handing over of certificates to some youth by the divisional officer of Tuba, Masango Nassis. In the Southwest region, precisely in Wabane, Lebialem division, the ceremonial ground was filled to capacity as natives turned out to celebrate the 53rd edition of the National Day. Highlights of the event saw the award of medals to meritorious citizens, amongst them the mayor of Wabane, Nembo Ketu Israel.
Satisfied by the large mobilization of our population who came out massively to magnify with the whole nation, the national unity of our country.
The event ended with march past led by the military and later the civilians. In the West region, celebrations were decentralized for the first time. It was decentralized because of the security of children, and secondly because of the difficulties observed in transportation since the Chancliffe incident. Just like in Bafang and Banka, the celebration took place hitch-free with massive participation.
And now let's talk business. Over to this advertorial. Olam Agri Cameroon celebrates 30 years of commitment to the agri-food industry. In Cameroon, the first company to launch a variety of enriched rice products on the market has been developing the production and marketing of premium flour for the past 10 years. Last weekend in Douala, Olam Agri celebrated 3 decades of quality while demonstrating its ambition to diversify its expertise into other food sectors in the country. Cedric Chakutiu was there.
The agri-food group Olam Agri celebrated its 30th anniversary in Cameroon on May 17, 2025 in Douala. Olam Agri is a market-leading, differentiated food, feed and fiber agribusiness with a global origination footprint, processing capabilities and deep understanding of market need built over these years.
Olam Agri is a global food, feed and fiber company which is focused on agri supply systems for a secure and sustainable future for all, and more importantly, participate in key agricultural commodities and raw materials that is very essential for us on our day-to-day life. We are very proud that we are today celebrating 30 years of our presence in Cameroon.
With the launching of the first fortified rice in Cameroon, their commitment to food security goes beyond the quality of rice and value for money to provide it with the best nutritional value in the lives of their consumers every day.
We are the first ones who introduced the fortified rice in the country, which addresses the nutritional needs of the Cameroonian consumers. We've been able to be present across the country, not just one region, but across from Douala all the way to north, and we take great pride in that. We have a large set of customers and who have been instrumental in taking our key brands, Biju, Meme, and they are just household names across the consumers.
They also, on this occasion, celebrated the 10th anniversary of the flour production unit grains business.
Ensuring that the food safety the government is looking for, we are a strong contributor, and that we ensure the goods of quality, flour of quality is available everywhere around the country. We do believe we are not flour sellers, we are service provider. One thing in mind, we focus on ensuring availability of the flour in all the remote areas in Cameroon. We've partnered with our beloved distributors and customers to make sure they get the right product at the right place. That has forced us to go through significant research and development to ensure that what we were serving them was exactly what they were needing.
Ningwe Marie, Human Resource Assistant, is one of the longest-serving employees of Olam Agri. She expresses her satisfaction working for the best agri-food group in Cameroon.
Almost 28 years at Olam. We are very happy with the company. We are asking the manager to continue with the ambition that he have with us in the company. View the way that I started and on where I'm now, very, very happy.
The ceremony took place in the presence of the Minister of Commerce and other local and traditional authorities. The minister emphasized that Olam Agri's investment in Cameroon demonstrates its commitment to supporting food security, creating job opportunities for young people, and contributing to the country's economic growth. In a bid to develop agriculture and strengthen food security, Olam Agri look forward to exploiting other sectors.
We are looking at expanding into fish feed, poultry feed and animal feed businesses. We are looking at edible oil distribution, and we are also looking at other business opportunities which can help the country and the stakeholders, and more importantly, the community across Cameroon.
Olam Group is a leading agribusiness supplying food, ingredients, feed and fiber to more than 22,000 consumers worldwide. Their value chain spans more than 60 countries. Olam Agri, building a brighter future.
Beautiful indeed. And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Let's now move on to Talking Point. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is Dr. NDIMANCHO Micheal. Doctor, thank you so much for being our guest tonight on the news. We are talking this evening on the appointment of a Catholic priest of the Diocese of Idea as one of the members of the Electoral Council that was by presidential decree earlier this week. Dr. NDIMANCHO Micheal, what was your first reaction, what immediately came to your mind upon learning about the appointment of Reverend Father Matthias Bell as a member of the Electoral Council?
Thanks for receiving me. Well, in regards to your question, I would like to say that religious leaders come from a society, and therefore what touches on the societies touches on them. And I think that everyone is a political being, the religious leaders inclusive. And, you know, religious leaders, priests, bishops, pastors, and all have rules, responsibilities that they have to play in the society. And these responsibilities range from social, moral, and community engagement, which they owe to the society. And they have the rules of moral guidance. That one you must know. They emphasize the importance of social justice. And so when it comes to issues that involves the society, I think they are better placed to get involved because we understand that they have some moral probity and that they understand their communities even better than any other politicians. Remember that Christians are confined more on religious leaders than on political leaders.
Now, Doctor, Reverend Father Matthias Bell is going to be part of those who oversee the electoral process in Cameroon. As a priest or a spiritual leader, do you see that task daunting, challenging, if neutrality is compromised at any given moment?
They have to play it objectively, because one of the things is having that moral acceptability, social acceptability, spiritual acceptability in the society, and then playing it level groundedly for everyone to see and believe in you. And that is why I want to emphasize on the fact that despite the fact that religious leaders and like the priest, Father Bell, who was just appointed, should be a member of ELECAM, I think that his role there should be very, very objective. Because this is actually the time that his Christians will put him on the scale and strike. And therefore, being so partisan in his involvement and knowing what the system is all about, that is actually what we are going to begin to look at as far as his role at ELECAM is concerned. Because if he gets too involved and ceases to be objective, this would rather cause a kind of division and subsequently loss of spiritual authority.
Dr. NDIMANCHO, you seem to have some worries. We know some religious leaders who have made good opinion leaders and their voices heard from far and near. Do you think there is any valid cause to worry over his appointment?
You know that in the past, religious leaders have played fundamental roles in change of government, in shaping politics in countries. And therefore, we cannot overemphasize this. In the past, we have read and we have lived experiences of how spiritual leaders have been very, very fundamental in changing policies, in changing even government, authoritarian government. If I can just cite you some few examples, you remember the case of Cardinal Jamin Sin, the Archbishop of Manila, who was very, very pivotal in the overthrow of President Ferdinand Marcos. That's in 1980 in the Philippines. I mean, that was a clinic. You also remember Narogua, whereby we had Archbishop Miguel Obando, who assisted, in his role as a priest in the overthrow of President Anastasio Soziza, that was in Nicaragua. And these are priests actually playing their role. These are clerics playing their role. Not so long ago in Tunisia, we understand the Islamic cleric Rashid Nagoshi, who actually played also a role in the overthrow of Zine Ben Ali. The examples are still very fresh in our minds. So with all of these examples that religious leaders they play, I don't think that we can really say that Father Matthias Bell appointment at the LECAM to assist in the electoral process in Cameroon is out of context.
Now to this straightforward question, are there any concrete changes you think a priest or a spiritual leader can bring to the electoral process of Cameroon, which we know?
Well, whether he will effect the necessary change or assist in effecting the necessary change depends on so many parameters, which I can, of course, name a few. Remember that it is not all clerics that are habilitated with the courage and the wisdom to change a status quo. We have had some few clerics in Cameroon who were noted for their courage speaking truth to power. We can think about Cardinal Tume, may his soul rest in peace, who was actually a leading figure as far as the clerics in Cameroon are concerned, who spoke truth to power. We can also think about Samuel Kleda, who think about the Bishop of Yagua, of course, who spoke very vigorously and spoke his mind. Remember the famous statement that we will prefer even a devil to Mr. Pobia going in for the elections again. And appointing him is one thing, and having him to do the necessary work in effecting the necessary change is another thing. And as I said, I don't know what criteria was used to appoint him. Personally, I have never heard of Father Matthias Bell as someone who is involved in national issues. I've never heard about him. But of course, this doesn't cancel the fact that where he is, he has been effecting the necessary change, maybe at the level of his parish. And we know that you can come from very small to effect big changes when you are given the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Micheal NDIMANCHO, for accepting to be our guest tonight, and hope to have you some other time, sir. And viewers, before we go, this news just getting to us. The Minister for Women's Empowerment and the Promotion of the Family, Marie-Thérèse Abena-Ondua, and also the Minister for Scientific Research and Innovation, Professor Madeleine Twinte, and Dr. Asheri Kilom, have paid a condolence visit to the family of 6-year-old Matisse, who was stabbed severally to death by a certain Wafo Dagobe that was in the Ngouaikele neighborhood in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. We will be coming back to that in our subsequent editions, the next edition, which will be at 8 p.m. Thank you, viewers, for always being with us. That was it for this evening in the English language. Our programs continue. The news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Urish Ngono Mala and Equinoxe right away in about 30 minutes with Serge Alengoto. Thanks again for being with us. Bye-bye for now, and see you again tomorrow same time.